All right. This is not a video for clips. This is not a video for the memes. This is not a video for yada 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 Dubai, right? Um, I'm trying to think of how I want to go about this. I have a light beaming in the left side of my face if you couldn't tell by all the light. But yeah, I want to think about how I'm going to go about this, so I will be pausing a lot. Pretty sure I'm going to speed this video up. I don't know if I'm going to put it on Instagram or YouTube or what, but I just want to address a few things, right? Number one, um, how do I feel? Genuinely interesting question there. I almost feel as if what I'm doing isn't the right thing. It almost feels as if I'm taking the wrong route to complete what I want to complete. Obviously, I speak about my finances a lot on here, and I've been getting more and more transparent about it. But as the days go by, and as more and more experiences hit me, I think of back when I had my money and all my stuff going for me. And I watched a few clips today when I went on a walk, and the only thing I could think of was, am I as valuable as I used to be? And you're probably saying, what do you mean by that, Evs? What do you mean, am I as valuable as I used to be? The main concern that I'm coming up with is that I had so much money that I had. I was doing as well as I was. And I backtracked a lot. And with that backtracking, it almost felt as if, and almost feels as if, it's now harder to obtain, even though I know that's not reality, right? But in some shape or form, I've convinced myself that it is. And I've definitely noticed a mentality shift when it comes to how I used to act and how I do now. And I almost feel like it's a hindrance, but it's also like an enabling kind of tool, right? It feels like, yeah, I no longer think I'm a literal fucking demigod and that I can do whatever I want whenever I want. But it also feels like now without that mentality and now that I've somewhat mentally matured, that it feels like I'm labeling it as maturity, but in reality it's complacency. It feels like I'm almost settling for what I currently have in my current situation rather than saying, if I genuinely wanted to get back to the point that I was at, that I would apply myself to do such and I would adopt the mentality that I once had. And like I said today, I was walking and I was thinking to myself, am I as valuable as I was before? Because I no longer have the finances, even though I still have the qualifications. But what good is the qualifications if they're not applied to day to day life? Because if I was using the qualifications I had and the knowledge that I had, and I still currently have, ideally I'd be at the same spot that I was at. So it's almost a mental barrage of insults and hypotheticals and anxious behaviors that's almost similar to having somebody in the back seat of a car asking you constant questions about a destination you're going to get to eventually. And now they've asked so many questions, it almost feels like, damn, am I even going to make it to that spot? Is it even going to be on time? And I don't know what to do about that, honestly. And I feel like that little voice in the back of my head won't shut the hell up until I do achieve what I've been seeking out to do. Even though I feel as if I'm at a mental crossroads with what I want to do. It's split between going to Japan and living a peaceful life, day trading, reselling, and doing what I want to, or how my like secondary voice is putting it, not being a coward and staying in the U.S. so I can pursue this American dream, if that makes any sense. Both of which is difficult. I believe that the Japan situation would be even more difficult, but once again, that's not what I'm believing through the the secondary commentary in my voice, or the secondary commentation. So, I don't know. That's how I'm feeling. So yeah, what do I have planned? What are my goals? What's going on? Right. For the plan, obviously we just spoke about how I want to get back into day trading and how that was one of my main income sources. That still stands true. I do want to get into day trading. I've also been making the proper moves to get myself into such. That consist of picking up shifts at my job to flex around my day trading. It will no longer be my day trading will flex around my job. My job is now going to have to flex around my trading. For the longest time, I had some kind of like underlining fear about getting back into trading through what my therapist would consider PTSD, minor PTSD. So now that that concern is no longer as prominent as it was, I believe that it's time for me to start trying to bring that part of my finances back into my life, right? So that's what I'm going to start trying to do. Like I said, that starts with me adopting this mentality that the major thing that I need to be focused on is my outside of work income, being trading, reselling, and flipping. Vehicles being my flipping, reselling being my clothing and whatnot, trading being my main workhorse. So I have requested with my job that I can get later shifts. This is around what 3 p.m. and later, so about 3 to 9, which is a pretty decent shift. 3 to 8, and I think that should help a lot. I'm no longer going to kind of procrastinate and make excuses for myself, such as, oh, I need this laptop before I start trading. Oh, I need this MacBook, or I need this iPad. I need this headset. I need this. I need that. I need the third before I can start trading. When this opportunity strikes and I have the freedom and ability to, I need to just initially act on it. I have the resources to get back to where I want to get back to if I were to settle down and move properly. It's going to take sacrifice, and when I mean sacrifice, I literally mean I will not be able to have a social life outside of trading, because it's just going to be my day consisting of wake up, trade, probably do my reselling or other business practices, journaling, studying, working out, and going to work, sleep and repeat. That's ideal. That's what I want it to be. When I don't feel like I have enough time being spent doing something productive, that's when I'm going to start implementing picking up extra shifts, picking up extra work, and trying to keep myself busy. Because when I'm not busy, that's when boredom hits. And when boredom hits is when I start spending dumb money or I start doing dumb things. So I want to minimize that to the most of my ability. As I was speaking about earlier, the reason that I feel like I haven't really gotten to the value that I want to get to as a person is because I've been slacking a lot. And today was one of those days that somebody that I networked with maybe a year or two ago, back when I had my Tesla, a pretty wealthy kid, around my age, I think exactly my age actually, might be slightly older. He introduced me to one of his friends that was even more wealthy than him. And this guy knows a very wealthy influencer, and they have rich families. Let me put it like that. They both have rich families. I got in connect with them because I was a day trader. They do something similar. And obviously, with them having a wealthy family, they don't have the same problem that I have. They were able to take off and keep going. I don't really technically think they both trade. One of them does still do crypto. The secondary one makes music now. I don't know. But like I said, they got in communication with me today on just about a post or something, asking me if I could repost something. And I was like, yeah, sure. But it had me thinking, what value in this relationship do I possibly bring other than my knowledge in said category? But the thing is, I wouldn't even be able to really say, oh yeah, let's go out and do something because I'm broke. I wouldn't even be able to say, yeah, let me show you my portfolio because I'm broke. I wouldn't be able to say, hey, let me teach you a little something because I don't have anything up to date. And today was one of those days where I was like, yeah, what I'm doing currently, I need to start getting the ball moving again. I can't sit in la la land for too long and expect this shit to figure itself out. So how I applied to that, like I said, about 6 days ago or so, I applied to get my schedule changed at my location. Hopefully they can get that done. If not, I'm going to have to find a workaround. I'm going to have to speak with ChatGPT a bit. We're going to have to brainstorm. Another thing, if this location cannot supply what I needed to supply, I may just have to transfer. Transportation is another big issue that I'm running into recently. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, how am I going to work that shit out? What are my game plans? Currently, I'm doing okay, but in the case of, and I'm always thinking in the case of worst case scenario, I'm stuck without a vehicle. That's my job. I need to figure something out that's going to get me solidified. Is there a way I can start car sharing? Is there a way I can start saving up to get a car? Is there a way that I can start maneuvering my money in certain ways? I need to start thinking outside of the box in a way that can help me project and elevate my situation a little higher than it is. I did speak about in the last video that I made, the main important thing that I need to focus on is the amount of income that I make relative to the amount of income that I spend. I should be making about $2,000 a month average on a decent month. Before tax, of course. There should be no reason that I'm blowing through that money by the end of the month. But it is. And something's not right. Something ain't going right. I need to start slimming down. I need to start cutting off excess fat. Because the more fat that I can cut off, the more fat that I'll have energy to use in different locations. The more money that I'll have to allocate to different things. The main concern that I need to be focused on now is getting back into the swing of trading. And using the extra income that I make into funding for a vehicle or funding for expanding my side income. the main thing that I'm trying to roll with now is that my job will be my main cash cow for monthly to monthly expenses. This is including rent, vehicle, food, hygiene, service, all of these little knickknacks, right? My work is going to cover all of that. The excess money on the month should be allocated towards my side incomes, and my side income should be making enough money for me to start chopping down a little bit harder on and more aggressive on my credit cards, saving up for a vehicle, paying off taxes, and any other weird side things that pop up like savings and stuff like that. I need to start chopping that stuff down. Trading, I'm going to have to go with a prop firm. It's just that simple. Top Step is probably going to be my only option. Like I said, it's just that simple. I don't have the funds to start a fresh live account. I'm currently popped. So until I can make enough money to live trade, prop firm is going to have to be the method. So yeah, I'm glad that I've been practicing on 6E1, which is Euro USD. And I've been getting used to futures, currencies, and things of that nature because now I should be able to just transfer that completely over. That was recently, but I do still need to get a little warm up before I start trading again. Now I'm going to start trading off of my cellular device, my phone. I have data now. I have the ability to look at a chart, look at news, look at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever I got to look at for whatever I got to do. And I should be able to make something happen. Content creation, I'm not too focused on really growing all too much, but at the same time I am. If I'm on TikTok, which is pretty much every day when I'm making content, I need to strictly be on that app to be making content or to be absorbing content to make more content with. And I've been doing a really good job of that. But those days I'm super bored are those days I start scrolling for about an hour or two extra that I need to be. I wouldn't say that I have a TikTok addiction or an Instagram or social media addiction. Definitely nowhere close to most people that I know. But I definitely need to minimize on that. And once I start trading, that will be happening because I'll need to start studying back up on my credit, which I know enough, but well, you could always refresh. Credit, real estate is what I want to start picking up on a little bit. Vehicles and car flipping, which I also need to refresh up on. Book reading and just staying very mellow-headed and level-headed. That should be good. We could talk about Japan a little bit and how I'm feeling about that. I'm still constantly thinking on rather if I want to live in Japan or just travel. I'm kind of getting to the point of where it seems like I do just want to travel, but every month it seems like it flip-flops. One month I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be in America anymore. I feel like just traveling. I feel like getting my passport done, saving up enough money to pay off my bills and my credit, and just moving over. But I understand with that becomes a huge problem of visas, language, transportation, and all sorts of other things, which I don't really care all too much about, and which isn't too bad because it's pretty manageable other than language. I suck at learning languages, but language school. But once again, with this main thing that I'm thinking about, the larger picture here is finances. None of this would be possible if I don't get my finances correct. I want to be making, collectively for the year, $50,000, only 50% of which should be from income from my job. That's my goal, right? That's what I want. Ideally, I can get around, if I work full-time and I locked in, which is unlikely, but it could happen, if I got full-time and could lock in, I should be making around 50K. That 50K plus side income, if I can get day trading going again, I should be making six figures. Should be making six figures. Calm. Like I said, the main thing I need to get through is my fear of trading and this PTSD that I've developed over time. So if I can lock that in, dial that in, I should be good. Sorry about the dog barking, but I kind of got to think. Other than those things, auction, like I was saying a little earlier, is something I'm going to probably have to pick up on as well, just so I can start trying to look at cheaper vehicles and look at easier ways to start moving that large cash into trading. I need to start getting large amounts of money and moving it into trading and savings. And like I said, if at some point I'm able to sell enough clothing and reselling and flipping that I'm able to now move that money into getting vehicles and selling for thousands at a time, that would be very beneficial to burn down that credit that I need to go ahead and get paid off. And once my credit is clean, that opens a lot of opportunities for me and allows me to be a little bit more, or not even a little bit more, about 25% more flexible with my income and what I've got going on. So that's something I'm really trying to get done. And other than that stuff, that's pretty much all I have to say so far. It's just going to be a lot of head down, eyes forward work, and it's going to be a lot more stress, but it should be at a place where I'm very zen and I shouldn't have to really worry about too much. There are possibilities for potential catastrophic events to happen, of course, with the luck that I have, but hopefully I could keep that as minimized as possible, and if said opportunities or restrictions pop up at any time, I should be able to deal with them appropriately. So that's what I'm trying to deal with. Networking, I'm going to have to deal with that maybe another time. I need to get my situation and everything figured out first. And yeah, just a bunch of work. So pretty much, like I said, that's everything I want to talk about today. I guess I'll talk to you guys whenever I make another one of these update videos. I made one of these previously, had the video saved on my phone and everything, and was ready to upload it. But I just didn't like the way it looked, so I went ahead and cut that. So yeah. That should be everything. I love you guys, and I'll see you all on the next one, man. Take it easy, and I'll let you guys know with the next update. I love you guys. Peace.